Okay, I'd like to our last meeting of the 23-24 school year. I'll call this meeting to order at 4:04. And this time, please stand and join me. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I could turn both of them off unless that bunch is on. Let's see how that is.
Don't bother me.
You're okay?
Yeah, we're okay. Are you two okay?
Yes, I'm okay.
Okay, all right.
I'm good.
1.2, adopt the agenda. I have a question before we move forward with that, and it is under 3.2. It says that it's the annual update.
It sure does.
And it should be Siskiyou, and the background sheets also.
Thank you for noticing. 3.2?
3.2, yes. And if there are no other assessments or questions, is there a motion?
I move that we adopt the agenda, or, sorry, I'm having problems with my agenda. Just one moment. What happened?
Our correction.
Yeah, sorry, just one moment.
Okay.
Can read her face. What the heck?
I pinned it so that it's a little bigger.
Sorry. Try it this way.
Can I help you with anything? Are you looking for something that you
I
can't
got it.
find?
I just had to go into it from a different direction. Sorry about that. The first few pages loaded and then the others didn't, but now I've got you. Okay, so sorry about that.
Okay, so you made a motion to adopt the.
Yes, and I'm back with you. I moved that we adopt the agenda as written for June 27th, 2024.
No, not as written. There's a correction that Rosemary pointed out.
One correction?
Notice.
Okay, so with the correction 3.1.
It's 3.2.
3.2.
3.2, okay. Okay, so I will repeat that again, sorry. I move that we adopt the agenda with the correction to section 3.2.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I will second it.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Brianna?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
And I also agree. Motion carries. Public comments, 2.1. Comments by the public. Under this item, the public is invited to address the board regarding items that are not on today's agenda. Please keep your comments concise, brief, and limited to 3 minutes. The board is not allowed under law to take action on matters that are not on the agenda. Should comments from the public pertain to a charge or complaint against an employee of Northern United Humboldt Charter School or Northern United Siskiyou Charter School, the board encourages the speaker to utilize the school's written complaint procedures to pursue the matter. The public will have an opportunity to comment on all agenda items as those items are heard. Do we have any public comments?
Not from Siskiyou.
None? Oh, go ahead.
I said not from Siskiyou. We don't have any public.
Okay. Moving on to action items. 3.1, approval of 2024-2025 budget overview for parents and local control and accountability plan with 2023-2024 annual update for NU Humboldt.
So this is what we had the public hearing on yesterday, those three components of the LCAP. And again, this is our plan for the next 3 years, and there have been no changes since our public hearing yesterday. So I'm just hoping for adoption.
Any comments or questions?
No.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the annual budget overview for the Northern United Humboldt Charter School.
And a second?
I second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Brianna?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
I also agree. Motion carries. 3.2, approval of the 2024-2025 budget overview for parents and local control and accountability plan with 2023-2024 annual updates for NU Siskiyou.
Okay, again, we had the public hearing yesterday, and there were no additions or changes or edits to it since then. Hoping for adoption.
Any questions or comments?
No.
Hearing none, is there a motion?
I move that we adopt the. Oh, I'm terrible at this. I move that we adopt the budget for NUCS Siskiyou for the 2024-25 school year.
Right. So this is the LCAP, not the budget.
Oh, I'm sorry, LCAP. That's what terrible at these these motions. Okay. So I move to adopt the LCAP plan for Siskiyou for the 20. Yes, so that makes sense. Can you help me with the exact wording on that? Because I'm just terrible at the how to do the motion, the exact wording.
Say I move to approve 3.2.
Okay, thank you. I move to approve 3.2.
Okay, is there a second?
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, Brianna,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
and I also agree, motion carries. 3.3, approval of 2024-2025 final budget adoption for NU Humboldt.
Okay, again, we held the public hearing on this yesterday, and Kelly gave us a beautiful report. And there have been no changes since yesterday, so we're asking for approval.
Any questions or comments? And hearing none, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve 2025 final budget adoption for NU Humboldt County Charter School.
Is there a second?
I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, Brianna,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
and I also agree, motion carries. 3.4, approval of the 2024-2025 final budget adoption and budget transfer resolution for NU Siskiyou.
Okay, again, we held the public hearing yesterday, and we got the report from Kelly, and there haven't been any changes to the budget. And I just wanted to remind you guys what the budget transfer resolution is. Siskiyou County Office of Ed requires board approval to transfer money from one area to another, one account to another, one budget stream to another, I don't know. And HCOE doesn't require that, but SCOE does, and so that's why this part is included in this. And they have told us that they're working toward moving away from that so that we wouldn't need that to happen anymore, these budget transfer resolutions, but it hasn't happened yet.
Any questions or comments?
And I'll just say, the budget transfer resolution is giving them permission to make the changes that Kelly told them to make, and that's what kind of all these background pages are that went with that. It's saying what transfers she wants made. And, you know, there's lots of moving around at the end of the year, like, oh, money's left in this pot and we want to move it to this pot or whatever. That's what all these budget transfers are.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I move that we adopt the budget transfer resolution for Siskiyou Charter School.
And a second?
And approve the budget as well. It's kind of two items there.
Yes, so but to approve the budget transfer resolution and the budget for Siskiyou County Charter School.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I will second that.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, Brianna,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
and I also agree. Motion carries. 3.5, approval of LCFF Local Indicator Data Report for NU Humboldt.
Okay. So this is not something that we talked about yesterday,
Okay.
finally. One of the things that happens with all schools in the state is, you know, we have to report our data publicly. And there's a mechanism that the state has created that we do that, and it's called the California School Dashboard. And you could go to this website and put in any school in the state and look them up, and you would get to see a bunch of different data about that school. Well, most of the data they get to put on the dashboard comes directly from our own school's information system being uploaded into the state system, which is called CalPads. And they take that data and they put it on the dashboard. But there are a few things that they don't get through that channel. We have to do it in a different way. And those pieces of data are called the local indicators. So there are some things that don't get reported through CalPads that they wouldn't know if we didn't tell them. And so there are a few of those. For example, one of those is there's something called a facilities inspection tool, or a FIT. And it's what schools use to look at the things in their facility, like the heating in their facility, the plumbing, the electrical, and you determine using this tool if your facilities are in good repair or poor repair or whatever. So we have to report that out. And so that's one of the things in the local indicators. There's a couple other things are data that we gather from surveys that we do. We send out a school climate survey and a school safety survey where we're asking students if they feel safe, if they feel like they belong, those kinds of things. Those are pieces of information that are part of the local indicator. So the report that you saw in the background packet, that was all of those different things that we have to give the data to the state ourselves. So the data first comes here for you guys to see, and I put it on as an action item. It's technically, it doesn't have to be approved. It has to just be reported, but I always put it on as an action item. And then once it's approved, then I take this information and I manually put it into the state system so that it can be uploaded into the California School Dashboard so that anybody can see the information. So that's what this was all about. Any questions on anything that was in here?
Any questions? Okay. Okay, is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve that LCFF local indicator data report, to upload it to for United Youth Charter on Humboldt County Charter School.
And a second?
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, Brianna,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
and I also agree. Motion carries. 3.6, approval of LCFF Local Indicator Data Report for NU Siskiyou.
Okay, this is the same information, but for Siskiyou. So Same thing, we have to give this information to the state so we can go on the California school dashboard. And you saw the report in there that has all of the information that is the data that we gathered from the facilities inspection tool and all of the different surveys that we send out, all the local information that we have that the state wouldn't otherwise be able to get unless we give it to them, because it doesn't go into the CalPADS uploads. So we're just asking for approval, so then I'll put it in the state system, and it can be in the California dashboard website for anyone to see.
Any questions or comments? I have maybe a clarifying question.
Okay.
I know that some things like our school accountability report card
Yeah.
and whatnot,
Yeah.
when we see it, it's usually for the prior school year.
True.
Something like this, is it for the current school year?
It is for, all of the data is from the 23-24 school year, so the one that's just ending.
Okay,
And then it will go on the dashboard as the 23-24 data. But it will come out next year.
Next year.
Yeah, but hopefully fairly early in the year this year. The state has been systematically moving the timelines up so that we could get it closer to
Good,
where, I mean,
good.
it'll never be real time because obviously things on the dashboard are things like your graduation rate. Well, you
right,
have to wait till the school year's over to know your graduation rate.
exactly.
But traditionally, it has taken a long time, partially because like the CAST scores, the state standardized test scores, we didn't get those back for a long time.
Mhm.
Now, we've already gotten the results back. They've really gotten a lot faster.
Oh.
And then the other thing too that they've done, like in backing up the timelines, you know how I said I have to put this information into the state's database report? Well, last year, you saw the information in this meeting in June, but they didn't even open up the state's website for us to put the information in until, I feel like it was like maybe November or October. Well, they've already opened it up for me to put the information in now. So they're trying to get better about that.
Good, good, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Is there a motion?
I motion that we approve the LCSF for NUSCS, Northern New Hampshire School System.
And a second?
I second that.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, Brianna,
Aye.
Ryan?
Aye.
And I also agree, motion carries. 3.7, approval of revised LCAP, Every Student Succeeds Act federal addendum for NU Humboldt.
Yeah, so this actually, you haven't seen in a long time. I feel like it was maybe, I'm gonna say like 2020 or something was the last time we saw this. And what, just so you know, kind of the background on it, you know, we have the LCAP in the state of California. That's our school plan. Well, the federal government requires every state to report some things out. California negotiated with the federal government that could our LCAP serve as how we report things out. And they said, yes, but it's missing a few things that need to be included in it. So what was developed is this, which we call it the federal addendum. And so it's basically, it's an addendum to the LCAP that then has that additional information that wasn't in our LCAP. And for the most part, we don't have to adopt it every year like we do the LCAP. If next year I'll review it, this is what happens every year I review it. And if there's no need to change anything, you don't have to. This year, when I reviewed it, we've had some significant changes that I felt like we needed to update it. And so what this mostly is talking about is our federal funds, the titles, the same thing that we had the Con App for yesterday. And so we're spending our title dollars differently now than we were the last time we adopted this. And so that's why I'm bringing it back again, just to have it be, you know, relevant to how we spend these title dollars now. Like, for example, when we adopted it before, at that time, our Title I dollars stayed in the Title I pot, our Title II dollars stayed in the Title II pot. Well, since then, we've decided they now let us move some of those others like Title II and I don't know what else, Title IV, into the Title I pot. And so we can spend it all out of one place now. And that's what we do in Humboldt. And so that wasn't the case when we adopted this before. So that's why it's coming back to you. I don't know if it looks at all familiar, but that's what this is all about. So I'm just asking for approval of this revised, and it lives on our website. The original one is on the website now, and we'll put this one on once it's adopted.
Any questions or comments for Sherry? No? Brian, I can see the wheels are turning. Do you have something?
No,
Okay. All right, is there a motion?
I move that we approve the revised LCAP where every student succeeds, Act Federal Addendum for Northern United Humboldt Charter School.
And a second?
I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, Brianna,
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
And I also agree, motion carries. 3.8, approval of the revised LCAP Every Student Succeeds Act Federal Addendum for NUCS.
Same thing.
Same thing.
I reviewed it this year and felt like it did need to be updated, so we're updating it.
Any questions or comments?
None at this time.
Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the LCOP Every Student Succeeds Act Federal Addendum for Northern United Charter Schools, Siskiyou.
And a second?
I will second that.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, Brianna,
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
And I also agree, motion carries. 3.9, approval of the Beginnings Incorporated Food Service Agreement 2024-2025 for Bryceland Learning Center, Northern United Humboldt.
Okay, so you guys know that we vend for our meals at all of our different locations. This is for our Bryceland Learning Center. This is who we vend our meals there for. And we choose them because they are at the location where our students attend, so it makes sense. There was an increase to the agreement this year. You see it was a 25-cent per breakfast increase and a 25-cent per lunch increase. So we're asking for approval on this agreement.
Any questions or comments?
None at this time, thank you.
They, I'll make a comment. They're as close to homemade meals
Oh,
that
that's
you're gonna
good.
get.
They are. They're
Yeah.
amazing. And
That's
you know, I'm
good.
just gonna throw out there in case anybody is interested, this Saturday is Beginnings Incorporated's 50th anniversary
Oh,
of their
wow.
inception.
Oh,
And so, they're having a huge community celebration in Bryceland on Saturday there at the community center. So if anybody wanted to go, it's gonna be an amazing time.
thank you.
Mhm.
Any other comments or questions?
None.
Is
No.
there a motion?
I will move to approve Beginnings Incorporated Food Service Agreement for the 2024-25 for Bryson's Learning Center for Northern United Humboldt Charter School.
And a second?
I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, Brianna,
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
And I also agree, motion carries. 3.10, approval of the Eureka City Schools Food Service Agreement 2024-2025 for Cutton Learning Center, Cutton Resource Center, and the Eureka Learning Center, NU Humboldt.
Yes, and this is in that same vein. We vend with Eureka City Schools for for all of our Eureka locations. And there was no increase to the prices for the year.
Any questions or comments?
And it is not as close to homemade as you can get.
Thank you.
That's funny. Oh, wow.
Yes,
Oh,
I personally have questioned what is being served
Oh, wow.
on some days because, unlike Spam that has Spam written on the side of the container,
Now,
there's been lots of mystery.
I do have a comment, but maybe it could be a future agenda item, but have you ever thought about your own kitchen? And if so, where would you put it?
No, we don't have a commercial kitchen.
No, but I mean, have you thought about if you could get one?
Well, sure, we think about buying a building.
Oh, no, I just thinking, because I'm like, well, the food's not as great, you know, just the.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, yeah, we would like to purchase a building.
You see, Brian, great minds, because we've talked about it.
Yes.
I know, well, no,
Yeah,
I was been thinking about the
true,
last
yes.
couple days, and thinking, well, you know what? And you know, that, you
Yes,
know, I was at a meeting
So
saying,
keep your eyes open.
Mhm.
oh,
For
I,
sale.
well, yeah,
uh-huh,
that's good.
all right. Any other, comments or questions?
Yes, I do, and it piggybacks off of what you both said. As you know, my background is 20 years of running professional kitchens and restaurants in large hotels and everything else, and I have thought about it too as well, Brian. However, when the reality comes down to it, it's going to be very, very, very difficult to beat those prices for what they provide to us. And that includes the upstart of said professional kitchen, the just day after day, year after year, dealing with the health department, dealing with the requirements of that, as well as paying a professional to do that. It seems on the surface level to be a better thing for our children, because yes, as Rosemary said, it'd be great to have those nutritional information available. And actually, it's kind of, I don't want to use the word ridiculous, but I am a little shocked that that is not required for our children, whereas it is at McDonald's and everywhere else. So I'm a little surprised that the FDA doesn't require that. However, the nuts and bolts of us actually having something like that within our organization will not only be much more expensive in the short term and long term, that would require especially a very hefty startup fee. Would fee is not the right word, but I think that yes, you are very, very right, Ryan, on the idea of it. The reality of something like that is entirely different, and it's something that I think we should maybe do a little bit more research on and very much consider. However, especially at this moment for all of the schools, it would be very, very, very different and difficult, especially if we do a central kitchen for Humboldt, then we need to do a central kitchen for Siskiyou too. And the financial implications, as well as what we were providing on a regular basis, the amount of time that goes into that day to day would be very, very difficult. And our job is, and our professions are education. And there's a very big difference between education and what we're discussing food service wise. On the other side of that, one reason why I would love to see something like that happen, Brian, is that we would have the opportunity to start a culinary program of vocational education for our students, which prepares them not only for culinary careers, but prepares them with skills that transfer across the board. We had, when I was the food and beverage director at the Fairmont in Sonoma, there was a program like that at Sonoma High School that our executive sous chef was, very involved with. And the partnership worked incredibly well, because not only did the students receive an amazing opportunity for education to step out into the world to but also being a resort in a very small town, and very seasonal resort as well. Those students that really excelled in the program, we hired them for those seasonal jobs and then continued their education throughout the summer. And wow is all I can say. Some of the students just blossomed, and it was, I mean, literally, I'm getting goosebumps remembering it. So having that opportunity, and that might be something we consider when we start looking at that kind of investment, that we're also investing not only in our children's and students' well-being and health with healthy meals, but also their futures, educationally as well as vocationally. So I think it's something we should very much consider, but there's going to be a very big fiscal consideration within that. So I'm glad to hear that both of you are interested in exploring that, and I would be more than happy to lead the way into that research and discussions. But particularly in Siskiyou, I think we would have a very, very steep learning curve, as well as staffing issues, as well as the facilities involvement. So, but I think it would be something that we should definitely look into over the next few years. Now that we have the core program using the contractors that we're working with, that I think that would be the next step, and it would be great to see.
Thank you. I'm going to ask Sherry to clarify one thing that you had said, because I do think that the nutritional components is posted. Either it might not be posted at the site, but I know it's posted at the central kitchen of Eureka City Schools.
So definitely, it's a requirement. Yeah, I didn't know if that's what she was saying.
I think so early on.
Yeah, I don't know.
And
I don't know what you were saying, wasn't a requirement for schools?
Well, there definitely are the requirements of what is required for those lunches to include, but maybe I misunderstood you, Rosemary. In my mind, I was thinking about the daily, like, so when you have a meal that day, that the nutritional explanations of that specific meal.
Yeah, we have to,
so
there's
it's every single
guidelines
day?
from the federal government
Yeah,
that
and-
we have to follow.
Yeah.
So many green things and orange
Yeah,
things.
and the
purple
calorie
things,
counts
yeah.
and everything else, but,
Yeah.
so I think I misunderstood what you were saying, Rosemary. I thought you were just mentioning that those nutritional requirements of the actual meal that's being served that day, rather than the federal requirements that they must meet for what they're providing. So I think I just want to circle on that one, and I do apologize.
That's okay, but every meal that is served to students
Yes.
have the same guidelines. Like Kirk
Yes,
was
and-
saying, so many greens, so many fruits, that type of thing.
And we have to come up with like 2-week menus
Yeah.
where
They have all
where
of
it's
the
all,
Yeah.
you can't serve the same thing every day and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I think what I knew about that, and what I misunderstood was, I thought Rosemary was saying that you wanted that provided for, each sack lunch had that information for what was exactly in that sack lunch. So I just misunderstood how the level and the depth that you were asking for. So I apologize
when
about
she
that.
said questioning what was in the meal.
Yeah, because sometimes it's hard it was hard to tell. Yes.
It is,
And
Mystery.
the mystery meat, like, and also, another comment that I'd like to make about your culinary, the students and culinary program. I do know that at our high school, the students do, they're not preparing meals, so to speak, for their classmates, but they do use things that they have there in their kitchen, and they do prepare things. They made a killer berry cobbler at Christmas time.
Oh, I remember you mentioning something about that. And one of my questions for that is, They are learning how to cook, which would also is like, you know, we remember way back when we had home ec in schools and things like that. Is there a component to that that includes service and financial, like running cash drawers and how you do the other business side, or is it just in the kitchen?
Well, we
And
have two separate
preparation.
programs. One, there's a culinary, just general elective that is just in the kitchen. But we also have a CTE culinary pathway that is in the hospitality and something else, food service sector. And it does include all, you know, all components. They do a catering business, there's the entrepreneurship, they run a little cafe called the J Cafe, where they, you know, make the food and run it, do the cash register, there's like cappuccino machines and stuff too, they get all those kinds of skills.
Fantastic, and thank you for letting me know that. I left the board for when I moved right before all of this food service stuff was being put in place. So it was great to come back and see that these programs are happening. I appreciate your comment, Rosemary, about the some of the food, and it's great that it is very, very homemade. One of my concerns when I started noticing, went and checked what was being served, is that for the older kids, and I think I mentioned this in the past few meetings ago, that for some of the older kids, and I got some feedback from them too, that it felt more like a snack than it did an actual meal. I think that what I saw and looked at, and what the feedback I got from the older kids, is that they seem like very, very good choices and very, very sustainable or substantial offerings for the younger kids. But for the older kids, a little bit lacking, calorie wise, etc. And you know, for some kids, that's some of the you know, they're substantial meals for the day, and it's a difficult one to balance, because it's going to be very hard to provide one thing for one group and one thing for another. So the reality of that is difficult. I just wanted to pass on that feedback from the older kids about how they viewed what was being offered.
And I do know
Fix that
from teenage boys, no matter how much you put in a bag, it's not gonna be enough. But I do also know that, getting back to the guidelines, there are guidelines for portions based on grade levels.
So yeah, I just wanted to feed that back in, and I have experience, as Kirk was mentioning, with those federal guidelines of having to feed the fire crews here out of one of the restaurants that I was running in Mount Shasta, and very with the calorie guidelines that you're discussing and everything else, because we needed to make sure that they had what they needed to go back out into the mountains and fight those fires again the next day, and which is a little bit different than feeding students. But it's I think everyone's, through the steps that we've been taking and what I've seen you guys take over the last 4 years while I was gone, I'm impressed. I'm very, very blown away with how far we've come, and I thank everybody that has made this happen, especially on this side. So thank you to everybody that has put so much time and effort into making sure that our children do have those meals and do have those nutritional requirements that they need to have their brains work and sit down at school in the afternoon, because you can't think without food in your tummy, and it doesn't work that way. And I totally understand the teenage boy thing, Rosemary, because my little guy, who's now 6'3", is 17, and let's just say keeping up with that one is it's a tough one sometimes. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. This was a good discussion. So with all of that being said, before we move forward and make a motion, I did want to point out one thing on the contract with Eureka City Schools. It still has Tammy's name on it. And when discussing that with Sherry, she said they were just crossing it out.
That's what we do.
Crossing it out. So, I think that, if there is a motion for 3.10, we're ready to go.
All right, I'll make a motion for 3.10 approval of the Eureka City Schools food service agreement for the 24-25 Cut Learning Center, resource and Eureka Learning Center for Humboldt County Charter School.
Is there a second?
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, Brianna,
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
I also agree, motion carries. Moving on to 3.11, approval of the Fire Monkey Food Service Agreement 2024-2025 for Mount Shasta Learning Center and Wairika Learning Center and USISQ.
Okay, and this, the same situation, this is who we've been with in Siskiyou County for both our Mount Shasta Learning Center and our Wairika Learning Center. And there was a slight increase of 15 cents per lunch for 9 through 12, and well, it's 15 cents for everybody. 15 cents increase for lunches for all grades.
Now, I don't have it up here, but I thought that I read, one was a 15-cent increase and the other was a 15-cent decrease.
You're right. Which I thought took to be very odd. That is what it is. I know, and I wondered about that too, but that was what she said after her calculations that she wanted to balance it out to. That's why I didn't lump them. That's why I had them separate.
See,
Yeah, you're right, and that's what I
Yeah.
wrote in the background. An increase of 15 cents for the 9-12 and a decrease of 15 cents for the K-8.
So basically no change.
Because it is, well, except for there's more high school students there,
Right,
so
yes.
yeah. But there is, and it is because there is a difference in the quantities of the two meals. The 9 through 12 get more.
Mhm. Any questions or comments?
I'm just amazed that there's only a 15% increase or 15-cent increase. The cost of food has gone up so incredibly over the last few years, and I think that we're very blessed that it's only a 15-cent increase for the older kids. I do have a question, and I know this is just based on who we're sourcing it from and everything else, but I noticed on the Humboldt side that there was a delivery fee for, which was not a problem because it was like what $8.95 per facility for the delivery, which is also incredible. But that we don't have a delivery fee for Siskiyou. And I was kind of wondering
Charge
if
a delivery
maybe
fee.
that's
Right.
built into the actual individual costs, and wondering if maybe that had something to do also with the difference in the pricing between that. Kirk, you have
Also too,
some insight?
Shelley delivers it to
That's right.
Mount Shasta.
Okay, that's right. I
She,
forgot about
you
that.
know, and I'm not sure if she picks it up here or they deliver it here, then she I'm not sure, but
Yeah, I had forgotten about that. Thank you
Yeah.
for clarifying
And,
that.
and we can choose to not have the delivery fee for Eureka City Schools if we want to go pick it up ourselves, and we have done that before. But we're at a point where the staffing we have is stretched so thin, it's difficult to have a staff member to be able to go over and pick it up. It's better for us to go ahead and pay the delivery fee. Yeah, and also our vans, you know, we only have 4 vans and they are always in use. We need more vehicles, and so that was another issue.
Absolutely, and I'm not concerned about that delivery fee. I was actually very impressed that it's so low because even if we had a staff member picking it up every day, between the cost of gas and the amount of time that we have to pay that employee during that time period would be, you know, probably almost even triple the $8.95 or whatever. So, but I was forgetting about what you mentioned about the transfer of the help because she's already going there, right? So
Yeah.
thank you for that clarification.
Any other comments or questions? And hearing none, is there a motion?
I move that we approve 3.11 of the Fire Monkey Food Service Agreement for 24-25 for Mount Shasta Learning Center and Wairika Learning Center for Northern United Charter Schools, Siskiyou.
Is there a second?
I will second that.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, Brianna,
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
And I also agree, motion carries. Moving on to 4.1, possible agenda items for our next board meeting.
Well, I actually might have one actually, because I've been thinking about it today. That kind of goes along with what you guys want to do in the future, maybe raising money, possible kitchen, hint, hint. I'm part of, as you guys know, I'm part of the Rotary Club, and I noticed today I was at their board meeting, and they don't get a lot of people who kind of reach out to them to get funds. And something that we should explore, I think is very important just for future, because everything, cost of things are going to go up. And I've been thinking about this, that if at some point, I know we want to grow, we want things, you guys got your FFA, you had things change through the years, but if we are going to go towards our own kitchen, we know the cost, but to make some kind of goal, whether that be reaching out, making grants, going to the Rotary Club. I mean, I've seen them giving out $20,000 for a kitchen. I've seen them giving out money to Riddell for a playground. And if we haven't reached out to them yet, I think we should start exploring that. That's just my personal feeling. And there's other grants out there. So that I would like to talk about that, see how we would want to go about that. I think that at this moment in time, like I said, things are going to go up in the near future. I mean, we can all dream, but without moving anything forward, things are going to get a lot more expensive. And I think it is a good idea that we have our own kitchen eventually, and you're not reliant on other people. There are risks, and there are things, and things are going to cost money. We need to think about Siskiyou as well, like, what she was saying. And that's just my thought, just to really, be more of independent from other people. So we don't have to rely on other people. This is for the future. It doesn't have to be, right away, but just at least talk about it and see what kind of direction we want to go.
Thank you. Any other suggestions or? Okay. One thing that you had mentioned last night was the board evaluation. That'll be coming up as well. We had talked about doing that in August at our.
I guess last night when I said all the possible agenda items for the next meeting, I totally skipped this meeting, didn't I? And talked about what we were going to do in August.
Well, you didn't, because you said this meeting's agenda had already been posted and
All
whatnot.
right, well then I guess I'm on top
No,
of it.
you are on top of it. Yes. Okay, 4.2, our next board meeting will be August the 14th.
This will be so long. That's okay. It's good.
And I'd like to thank everyone for coming. Enjoy your summer, and I will adjourn this meeting at 4:52.
Thank you, guys.